everyone, it's Misty here from the Joy for Love. Welcome to another video with TLC Design Shop. I'm excited to have you join me today because today we are working with a new stamp set from their new release on, almost said January the 15th, July the 15th. So today I'm going to be working with you to create a digital card with a digital scene. Today I'm going to be doing a 5x7 card, which is a little bit different from my normal A2 size cards, but I wanted to create a bigger scene. So I'm going to share with you how you can use pattern paper as a background, and then how to create a scene using a ton of different digital stamps. So we're going to head over to my craft table, or actually we're going to head over to the computer. I'm going to walk you through step by step, and then I'll add in the coloring at the end. But the main star of this show is putting the card together. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, or if I forgot one, to leave a comment on this video. Each month, one of my 2 videos for TLC Design Shops will have a winner for a $25 gift certificate to the TLC Design Shop store. Don't forget, I will have all of their social media linked in the description box down below. If you haven't already, I encourage you to go subscribe to their YouTube channel and join their Facebook group. On their YouTube channel, you will have access to live streams and in the Facebook group as well. And they also do a monthly challenge, and a new one just started, and this month's challenge is interactive cards. So shake, if they move, all the things. So again, all of that will be linked in the description box down below. So yeah, let's get started, and I'll show you how to make this adorable card out of digital stamps. So I am starting with a 5x7 rectangle in the free edition of the Silhouette Design Studio. I will have a video linked down below where I walk you through step by step how to create digital cards in Silhouette. And I have my Outdoor Friends and my Foraging Fairies stamp set. So from Outdoor Friends, I'm going to bring in the posts that have the lamps, and then I'm going to bring in the flower tents, and then you'll see the other ones as well. So I wanted to create a scene, and this is the scene that kind of popped in my head. I want it to look like they're having dinner at their campsite or where they live. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in all of the stamps. So I'm on a Mac, and on a Mac you can just drag and drop. I honestly don't know how you can do, if you can do that on a Windows. I don't have any, like, it's been probably 8 or 9 years since I worked on a Windows. On a Windows PC. So in these stamp sets, you get a line art, and then you get the one that actually has the white. So for this, I went ahead and chose the ones that have the white. And then I've just highlighted everything, and I've chosen to do the line art in black. You can actually change the line art. So if you're someone who wanted to dabble in no line coloring, you could make these lines so much lighter and be able to accomplish that. So the 5x7 is my card. This is a card side. Have I ever made a 5x7 card? I've probably made 1 or 2 5x7 cards in my lifetime, but I knew that I wanted it to have a lot of detail, and in order to do that, I felt like it needed to be a little bit bigger. A lot of this is because, as you guys know, I've mentioned I have rheumatoid arthritis, and sometimes it's hard for me to color in small areas. And I thought if I made it a little bit bigger, number one, it's a size we don't normally do here in the US. And it's something a little bit different. And number 2, I could add all of the details that I wanted to add. So I'm just resizing these images. These images are so cute because they're meant to be at the quote unquote table, which is the tree stump. And I just think, oh my gosh, this may be my favorite stamp set so far. I mean, I love all of them, but this one is just so stinking adorable. And I love that you get so many different elements that you can play with. So I wanted this one to be at the front on the table. So when something is not where you want it, if you need to send it back or you need to bring it forward, you just right click on it and you can click on that. And so I clicked on bring it forward, and I am just resizing everything, moving things around, and putting things where I want them to be. So this probably took me, I don't know, 25-30 minutes. It really just depends on um, how detailed you want things, how, like, it really depends on what you want it to look like. So I felt like he needed a cup because she was drinking out of the cup. So I'm putting just a little cup beside him. And again, all of this is being done in the free version of the Silhouette software. And there's no die cutting involved. We're only going to be printing. So you don't have to worry about pain. You don't have to worry about having a machine, any of those things. So after I've started doing this, I've decided to start saving my work. That way it doesn't crash. That's the one thing complaint I have about the Silhouette software is they can't seem to keep up with the Mac OS updates. And of course, Mac updates all the time, it seems. So I decided I wanted her to look like she's flying in. So I was able to just use the little green dot to rotate her. And initially she's higher up, but later I'm going to bring her a little bit further down. And now I have to decide how I want where I want my skyline and what is that called? I completely just had a brain fart. Not frontier. What is that even called? Anyway, I have to decide where is going to be my sky and where my ground is going to be. Oh my gosh, my brain. So I'm just kind of playing around with this, and then there is a draw tool. I'm going to bring that in just a minute, and I'm going to draw um, where I want it. So I knew that I wanted the post in the back because I want to create fairy lights. They're fairies. They need fairy lights. So that's why I brought the post in. I'm going to group them together so I can move them and resize them as one. And I just scooted them over just a little bit. That way this could be behind her and it wouldn't completely be cut off. And the great thing about the Silhouette software, I don't know if you've noticed those blue lines, is it helps you line it up with an object across from it. So like I said, I wanted it to look like she was flying in with some of their food. And so eventually I will get her where I want her to be. So you can spend as much time as you want just kind of moving things around. And the great thing is that once you have it where you want it, you can print it 1,000 times and make as many cards as you want to. So again, I am just playing with the size, resizing her, moving her around a little bit, trying to decide where I want her, and just playing around. That's really all you have to do. So as you can see, the green button is how you can rotate your image, and you can move it side to side, frontwards, backwards. It really just depends on you. Horizon line. Oh my word. I'm like, what is that word? So here I'm using the pencil, just kind of drawing where I want this line to be. Because I want to be able to do some perspective. So the table and the fairy flying in are going to be in the foreground, and the lights and the tents or the flowers are going to be in the background. And so I really felt like I needed something that would help me do that before I printed it. So I'm going to bring in the little flower tent. Aren't they so cute? Again, so cute. And I'm just resizing this by height. That way I could get it down a little bit. And then I am going to click it and then change the color of the line. And then I'm going to rotate it just a little bit, I think. So it's a bit more straight. And then I'm going to put 3 of these behind them. And this is going to be where they sleep. Initially, I thought I was going to bring in a log for a place for her to sit, Again, I was just kind of playing around with things, and that's the great thing about digital stamps is you can manipulate them so much more than you can do a traditional, three-dimensional stamp. Plus, they're a little bit more inexpensive, and again, I can create this scene and print it 1,000 times. And another thing you do is you can print it, you can color it, then you can scan it, and then you have as many card fronts as you want. So that's another hint or trick for you if you've got a color printer. I have a color laser printer, so I am able to do that. So I'm just sending these back because I want them behind the characters, not in front of, because again, I'm trying to build perspective and set a scene. This is basically in real time. I wanted to speed it up at first, but then I wanted you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. So you can see here that I'm moving the post up and down. That way I can decide where they are or where they fit best. And again, just playing with the layout. That's really all you need to do is decide what's going to be in the foreground, what's going to be in your background, resizing, making things smaller, making things bigger, playing around with it. Just make sure you save as you go so you don't lose all of that hard work that you've put into it. So now I'm bringing in the rectangle tool and I'm going to draw two rectangles. The one on the bottom is of course going to be for the grass, and then I'm going to create one on top that I want to be bigger. I go ahead and turn all of my lines black per usual. And then I'm going to fill it with a green. And again, this is just standing in as my horizon. So the grass that they're going to be on. I'm playing with the color, and then I'm also playing with the transparency, so how opaque it is. And again, this is initially I think I thought I was going to print it like this, but I decided not to, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I duplicated that rectangle, put it on top, and then made it bigger because my sky is going to be bigger than the amount of grass I have. I'm going to color those, and then I'm going to send those back. So our images are at the forefront again. So now I'm going to go ahead and move the other images in. So again, so we can get some placement, a decision of where everything's going to go, and how it's going to look. Now, as you can see, the post and the back are just the line art. And as I mentioned, you get a line art and then you get one that is filled in with white. So if you're doing something like this, you're going to want to use the ones that are filled in with white. So now I'm going to bring in a curved line because I want to create a wire for my fairy lights. This is the first time I played with this tool, so it took me a minute to figure out just how I needed to make this work. But once I did, it worked out pretty well. So I just created an arc and then I had to turn it so it would fit between the two lampposts. And again, I'm just going to turn it and kind of get it situated. This is where I decide it needs to be a little bit bigger. And then we'll end up moving it up in a little bit. Sometimes it can be a little hard to grab exactly what you want, especially when you have a lot of layers going on. So just make sure you're paying attention to what is highlighted once you click on something. So again, a lot of adjusting, a lot of moving around. That is the theme for this project. It's just an opportunity to be creative and to create something that doesn't necessarily require ink and stamps. Again, the sky's the limit. You can even do wall art for a nursery. I think this would make the most adorable wall art for a nursery. In fact, I was going to use the other little pixie holding the pen in a project for some wall art, and I may end up doing that coming soon. If you missed it, I announced in my Facebook group that I have a new nephew. He was born back in March, and his daddy wants to decorate his nursery, so we'll get around to doing that at some point. So I brought in the circle tool to create the little circle for my lights, and I'm just going to duplicate that and then get them set where I want them. I'm trying to space them apart pretty evenly, and I feel like I did a pretty decent job with that. And again, it's all about just duplicating, taking your time, moving stuff around. You may find this to be too fussy. For me, I found this to be just very like meditative almost. Like I just created like it. I wasn't in a rush. I could just move things around and just have a really, really, really nice time with things. So once I've got everything where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and group some things, send some things to the back. You can see there I sent it to the back and I didn't mean to. I got to bring it to the front again. There we go. So you can you can see the scene really shaping up. This is basically what it's going to look like on the finished card, minus some digital paper and the white poles. So I'm moving the flowers in the background around. That way I can go ahead and put them where I want to. They're spaced a little bit more evenly, and they make a bit more sense. So sometimes you can drag and drop a image into the same image, but this wasn't working out that way for me. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this down to the size that we already have. And I'm just using that black one as a guide. And then I clicked on it and figured out the measurements. And then I'm going to click on it again and make sure that I do black lines. That way I can see them. We're going to duplicate it. It's going to take the place of the other pole. And then we're going to move on to the background. So initially I was going to leave it like this, and I had shown it to Tammy, and Tammy's like, the watercolor paper would probably really work on this card. And I was like, that is genius. So I'm going to show you how you can use digital paper on this scene. So I have created two rectangles, the blue one and the green one. So I am going to bring in the paper. Now here I turned down the transparency quite a bit. So in a minute I will have to do that again. And I had to end up moving my rectangle over so I could drop in the blue paper. And then I'm going to bring in a green. I'm actually going to try a couple of greens until I get the green that I want. I wanted the green to be a little bit more vibrant and a little bit darker. So I really like how this green turned out. And then, like I said, I did have the transparency turned down, so I did have to go ahead and put the transparency back to where it was in order to get it as the depth as deep as I wanted it. So I'm making the background papers just a little bit bigger. That way, if I mess up cutting or something, it won't be a huge deal. And then I went ahead and duplicated it. So I've went and grouped everything together. And here you can see that I am playing with the transparency, and then I just duplicate that. And once I've done that, this is ready to go to the printer, and then we're going to move on to coloring. So your question of the day is, what is your favorite new product from the July 17th release? I will have everything I used from TLC shop in the description box down below, so you can head over there and pick it up. Let me know if you get this Foraging Fairies stamp set, and tag me on Instagram if you create anything. You're also welcome to share in my group. You're welcome to share in the TLC Designs group. I sped up the coloring super fast because it was more about working with the digital images in Silhouette and creating a digital card than it was about the coloring. So that's it for me, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to turn on some music to let you finish out the video, and I will see you guys on Sunday for a special video on the Jolly Fed Elf channel. Don't forget to check out the TLC Designs YouTube channel and Facebook page or Facebook group, Facebook page, Instagram. All of that is linked in the description box down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.